Good afternoon, everyone. Very glad I'm here to speak about an amazing project that took place. Sorry, I will move. That took place a few weeks ago. So I'm not sure I'm really gonna answer the question of the afternoon. That's maybe not the point, but it's more the point of showing how we can get organized and how we can build great projects to, just raise awareness and work on this subject. So. I don't know if you knew, but from 24th April to 30th April this year, a seminar took place in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, with 40 young people coming from all over Europe. It was organized by CDN. CDN is Cooperation and Development Network in Eastern Europe, and CDN is basically a capacity building network in Eastern Europe, working at spreading green ideas in Europe. They are mostly composed of youth organization working on green ideas, and it could be youth wings of green parties, but it's also NGOs and network of activists and so on. So we had this seminar. And that was called Digital Security, How to Read the Surveillance Discourse and Fight It. So it was very oriented. And it comes from, this concept of the seminar comes from the working group, the Digital Rights Working Group of CDN. So CDN is this network organization, and this organization has a working group. They are working, like young people from everywhere, from all Europe, are working together, not physically, of course, and they are building projects, ideas, thinking, and so on. And this amazing working group called Digital X Working Group started working on this concept. It started in 2015 actually, and they first organized a webinar, so a very important tool for us, like a decentralized and online tool that so they organized a webinar on this very known dilemma, privacy versus security. Is that a dilemma? We can have the debate. But it was just after the Paris attack, and it was very important to raise the debate and to start discussing even with the shock. And after that, they said, okay, we need to make something bigger, and we're gonna have a seminar gathering activists from everywhere and teaching them how to read the discourse and challenging it, and of course, protecting ourselves. So they looked for fundings, they did everything, an amazing job, and when they got the fundings, they recruited the team, the program team. That's where me and some colleagues jumped in the project. And we did it. We recruited some 40 young people from mostly Eastern Europe, but from all Europe. Some are in the room right now. I'm very glad to see them. And we met in Sarajevo in April. And then what happened? Amazing things for sure, but what happened? We had three main objectives. The first objective was to analyze the discourse of surveillance, to understand it, and to challenge also this false dichotomy between privacy and security. The second objective was to develop participants, like the advocacy and campaigning skills of participants by also networking the green community and the digital rights activist community, which are mostly split and they're not working together and they're just speaking on their quarter and not exchanging. That was the second objectives. And the third one, very important, was to develop the practical and technical skills of the participants and to encourage them to use free and secure tools and adopt better practices and tools on the internet, but also to learn how to spread it. So to learn that for themselves, and then to learn how to teach it to their own communities. That was the three main objectives. And how did we do that? We basically based the week on two different parts. The first one was more theoretical, and we went all through like how does the internet work, and we had some case studies of surveillance and censorship all over the world. We had some debates on privacy versus security dilemma. We analyzed the consequences of surveillance for the society and for the individuals, for the minority group, and for also the majority and so on. So this was the first part. And then second part of the week, it was not that split, but basically that was the idea. We came to the practical part. And here we really learned with also external facilitators how to protect ourselves, which tools we should use, what are the dangers, how we can bypass censorship, all that. How did we do that? We based everything on non-formal education methods. I don't know if you are familiar with non-formal education, but this is basically a set of methods, like an idea of education that is not top-down, but is more bottom-up, and which is based on collective wisdom. We can all learn from each other. We are all something to bring. I'm not gonna give you a lecture. Like, we are gonna work together and have like innovative and involving methods in order to think all together and to realize that we all have something to bring, and then we get the knowledge together and we build it together. So for example, what did we do? We had some, we also had some lectures, of course. We had some external speakers coming. We had, for example, Dirk, currently here, who came also for exchanging with us and having a short lecture. But most of the time we had some role plays, some moving debates, some small working groups, small group work. We had, what did we had? So much. But yeah, so this is this idea of innovating methods in order to learn by yourselves. And we also had something quite amazing, which you could be familiar with. We had in the middle of the week a crypto party. It was the first ever crypto party in Sarajevo. Woo! That's so cool. And we gathered with some local facilitators, local hackers and digital rights activists, and we organized this crypto party that was public, and we had people also from the city coming. We had several workshops, small workshops. It was really done in a chilled and relaxed way, so people could just hang around and just visit a workshop. They were with a laptop, with their devices, and they could have like a Linux installation workshop to to get rid of Windows. And there were like email encryption workshop or hard drive encryption workshop. Safe browsing, like anti-tracking browsing. You had, what did you had? So much. Yeah, also secure smartphone, how to make your smartphone a bit more secure. So all this, and it was done in a chilled and relaxed way with people also from the outside and from Sarajevo, so we could network and connect and make this connection between the two communities. That was it. That was it. So what is the output or the outcome of it? The output is quite measurable. Basically, it was really our aim not to end at the end of the seminar. The 2 last days were dedicated to some follow-up sessions. So the principle was the participants were invited to propose some follow-up projects. And so with their wonderful fantasy, we had some projects that were created. We had, for example, one stop-motion movie that was created, a stop-motion movie on what is privacy today in 2017. So based on what they learned the entire week, they created that in a very creative manner. It will be soon released. You will see it. It's wonderful. We also have a group that wanted to share all these best practices that they learned with their own communities, and they wanted to make an infographic. So they wrote all the text, and now they're working on the infography, and this will be spread in our green activist communities. They're also a group that decided to write articles, to write science fiction stories, to make interviews and so on. Everything will be collected in a magazine that will be also published. One group was more dedicated to networking, and oh yeah, we had also like a programming bot workshop that was really fun. I don't know if it's really like a follow-up workshop, but doesn't matter. And we had a fast external speaker who was here to teach them or to help them to program bots. So it was the first time they were coding and programming something. That was super exciting. Yeah, that's for the output part. So I hope you will follow that and maybe check some of the things, the movie, the article that will be soon published. But what for the outcome? This is always harder to measure, of course. But what I can tell you, like it was not the first seminar I organized. I organized a lot, and what's sure is that I never saw participants that were so enthusiastic at the end of the week. But such that, you know, this enthusiasm that makes you so eager at spreading what you learned. And what I can tell you now is that many people plan to organize crypto parties in their own countries. So where it's feasible, like we had some participants from Russia who discovered actually that they are not able to do that. So that's going to be very complicated. But some already did it. Like we got an email like 2 days ago, someone from Czech Republic saying, oh, you know what, I organized like a small workshop for my fellow activists, and we learned how to use this and Tor browser and VPN and encryption and blah, blah, blah. So this is ongoing. The process is ongoing, but what is sure is that people now, these 40 people were there, are now very much aware that technology is a challenge for fundamental rights. That's true, that's a challenge. But they are not afraid of it, they are aware of it. And when you are aware of it, now you are more able to question it and to fight for it. So I think we'll see what's gonna happen next, but yeah, that was this seminar in Sarajevo, and yeah, if you have questions and so on, please do ask and check CDN's website where everything will be released and so on. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, maybe I will have a first question. One thing I noticed, and maybe it's not so on logic, but the people living in more East European countries or Balkan countries were more looking from the aim from how can we protect ourselves from government, which when I see people from Western Europe, we are more like how can we set up new ways of cooperating with government. So I found that an interesting tension, but maybe I don't know whether you share this kind of point of view.
You have definitely a difference between like the historical background of each country's makes how you consider privacy very different. Like what privacy, that's super interesting. When you have a group of people coming from all over Europe, and then you say, what is privacy for you? You have different answers, but very different answers. And you can see indeed that the historical background of each person frame his understanding of privacy. And I do agree that privacy toward governments is very interesting. It's very important for Eastern European who lived not so long ago in not so very democratic states. However, I do not really agree with the Western understanding of it. And I'm not sure that people... I think people trust their governments more, but they are not really trying to cooperate with it. And that was also one of our aim, to show that you should learn how to protect yourself also from the state or from the private sector. However, there is a way to cooperate. We had some sessions on campaigning and advocacy, and we also analyzed this, how the relation can be in both ways. And you can also find some ways to, not maybe to collaborate, but also to influence it and to make, like, you're not only, the government is not only a threat, it's also a way to influence things and to change things. So, yeah, not so. But we can chat afterwards, of course. Thank you very much.